Sounds like a team.
All right. And I need one more thing, and we can begin. So, hang on one.
And 4 of them are together, and Syndicate in Riley form is on her own.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far yet.
No. Or in a different place.
Dr. Corey's character is not with the rest of us.
Shocker. How surprising.
Yeah.
We ain't started yet.
I've never separated from a group in my life. This is a new thing for me.
Corey.
Well, have you ever heard that old expression?
Yes.
Ken, I'm not
Probably.
Shoot.
Oh, really? That's what it looks like in 5th edition. That's weird. Why is that even here? Okay. Never mind. Remind me to put a note down, Adam. I don't really care to see about Fallout in 5th edition. Thank you. All right, then. The 29th. Let's kick this tire. When we last left everybody, you had all politely made quite a unique impression on McCready's bar, insofar as the majority of you were suffering that terrible thing you'd like to call the police showing up and beginning to do many, many things. You've been found a piece of paper, I believe, as well as a notification about different things.
Staticky.
Am I still staticky?
No, that was me because I unplugged.
I understand. It's fine. But at that point, in the form that Syndicate took at this time, which was Raleigh, you had begun to leave to go try to meet up with Chiller.
Yeah, with Chiller.
Somebody called the surgeon.
Yep.
And you were almost going to be able to break away and leave the party behind because you'd actually begun the walk there. But there is something interesting that happens. Now, as I understand, and according to my notes, you guys were still on the street as they were trying to do the cleanup. You were still sort of together.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah, I would have been wherever somebody needed talking to.
Right. Well, that's ironic. Raleigh, I need percentile dice check from you, please. And you're the pyrokinetic, if memory serves correctly, not the telepathic.
Pyro, that's correct.
Excellent.
$82.
82. Excellent. While you're about to walk away from all of this nastiness, you notice something on the corner that kind of catches the, you know, as a person might walk and they notice something that they have to do a double take for. Did I really see that? Is that really a cop car when I'm making that illegal U-turn? You know,
Lady
that sort of
red dress.
Yeah, not the first time
Yes,
I
but
do that type of thing.
this time it actually says Morningside Hospital on the side of the van, just on the cusp of it.
Yeah. Riley takes the hood, on a jacket that she's wearing, and kind of just puts it over her head, just puts her head down and walks on past.
Oh, well, that's interesting because you see there's another one just up ahead of you. And that one has doors that are sliding slightly open.
The thing is I don't know if the hospital's ever seen Riley before, so we're just gonna kind of
They've seen Riley. Whether you know they've seen Riley, they've seen Riley.
yeah, they probably have, but she's gonna try to play it cool, and like I said, she's popped the hood, got her head down,
Absolutely.
and kind of trying to cross the road away from where everybody is, and still going in a direction.
There's a woman with two large gentlemen in white coats standing on the other side of the road. She looks like an older woman, probably in maybe I would say her 70s. That would be fair. She's sort of standing there. Looks like she's patiently waiting for you. That would almost be the way it almost feels too. She's just sort of standing there and kind of in that moment where a person would be like, oh, okay, well, I ought to, like catching a bus almost. That would almost be what it's like catching a bus.
Sounds about right.
Hello, Riley.
Good evening.
We've been very concerned about you.
Little me? Why? What's the concern?
Well, you've been gone for a while. We don't want to necessarily have that kind of fear, do we? Of course we don't.
I'm not afraid. I'm doing just fine.
Well, unfortunately, I don't necessarily think you are. That's why we've come to check up on you. It's time, I think, you've had your little outing. Certainly, you've made a few little friends. But as the sun is going down and you've had quite an exciting day, I think it's time for you to come home. Don't you agree?
No, not at all. Miss
Doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Your doctor specifically, Riley. We don't want necessarily for significant issues, do we?
Yeah, well, we wouldn't want to have the issues that we had in the safe room.
No, I think that was
Out here on the street.
the safe room. Don't worry, we've seen to that, Riley. There's no need to be afraid. I'm sure
I'm
once
not
we
afraid
get you
at
back to Morningside, everything will be right as rain.
I don't think that's going to happen today, Doc.
I believe it will.
You can believe what you like.
No,
And
Riley.
she turns around and starts walking away.
And there are 3 or 4 of these large, faceless men in white coats on the as you turn around. Dear Riley, I think that it's time for you to come home willingly. If you don't want to come home willingly, I'm afraid we'll have to make you come back unwillingly. After all, doctor's orders.
When have I ever done anything willingly, Doctor?
Well, you see, this is part of your assessment. I had hoped by this point we had gone past these childish outbursts, Riley. Clearly, it has been a rather difficult afternoon. Tracking you down was difficult. To be fair, I wasn't certain we'd see you, but I am rather glad it is you, Riley. But don't worry, I assure you.
Yeah, because you probably wouldn't want to deal with the big guy, would you?
Actually, we're prepared to deal with all of you. But I want you to know something from you to me. I promise that despite you breaking the rules of Morningside, despite your leaving as you did, I won't hold that against you in any way, shape, or form. You won't receive any demerits for this outing if you come home right now. Now come now, Riley. It's time to grow up and stop these silly things. It's time for you to come home. I need a personal check from you.
Morningside is not my home, Doctor.
But it is what has been mandated where you'll be at the time being. And I need another personal check from you, please.
90 flat.
For a brief moment, have you ever seen that kind of rapid movement that you often see in horror films where a person doesn't quite seem what they are? They almost have that vibrational difference that shows a different face or a different manner of being.
Absolutely.
What the best way I can describe, Corey, what you see is you see almost like an entire 2 levels to this. There's a level, if you imagine, of a black wall that just has a lot of words put together running consecutively together. And these are words that I'm not sure Riley would completely understand, but you'll register it across your mental template. And there's such things as non-Euclidean incursion, multifractal reality fracture, mathematical of equation equals ambition equals negativity equals anger equals pain equals resentment equal compliance. It's just like a series of phrases that are kind of linked together. That would be the first kind of like image that would pop out. But the second image is it's fairly certain to suggest that whatever Morningside is and the images that you have of it can't be reconciled within a normal time frame, as if they're not really within the same continuum that even a sane person might register as being where time has meaning or space has meaning. The rooms seem really large or really small. The handlers, which are called uglies, which are the tall men in white coats who have no faces, don't really exist as you would know them. They're just parts of a larger worm, slug, cockroach. And Dr. Ambrosia right here is effectively one of the overseers of whatever that is. Does that make sort of sense?
Yeah, I know. I got you.
At the same time, just up the street a little bit, Beacon, you're talking to people that need to be talking to, right?
That's correct.
And Gazorpazorp?
I'm attempting to keep Gazorpazorp from talking to people that need to be talked to.
Oh, interesting.
Gazorpazorp is wondering if he saw any of that exchange that we just heard.
It isn't that you saw it, but for the briefest moment, there's this feeling maybe to the south and a few blocks of that kind of moment where it's like something punching through the ice from beneath the ice. There's that disconcerting point on a white plane where you might see a hand punch through or something like that. It just sets things off. You can actually feel it. You actually can feel it from where you're at.
Right. I'm sorry. I was more specifically referring to, do we see, does it look to us as if Riley is, sorry, that's Riley, I think. Is,
Riley.
Actually, is she upset? Is like looking for any kind of visible, like, there were some loud voices said. Is anybody like looking like, guys, come give me a hand or anything like that?
Well, I think the best way to put it is, from what I was trying to say is, she's not in visual range. Maybe she's around the block.
Oh.
But regardless, you felt it.
Okay.
You didn't see it. You actually felt the actual event happen. Like, it's just jarring and disconcerting all at once. Scaredevil.
Yeah.
How long would you like to stay amid the federal authorities?
When I got done talking to who was it? What movie that said that was proud of me for doing what I did?
Yes.
After that, I got what I didn't do before my things. I just talked to them what they had to make me do.
Sure.
And I just said I'm trying to become a good guy now.
Right.
Now
right. You're the hero that the city needs.
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
Like I know the streets kind of well.
Excellent. Well, we may very well have need of that.
I roll my eyes if I hear any of that.
All right, Beacon, you can roll your eyes away, but thought.
Yeah, I'm mostly just concerned with making sure that Prairie Fire is being taken away and won't be around to point me out in crowded bars anymore.
All right. Well, you're fairly certain with the level. They put restraints on her elbows down to her hands that are probably about 4 inches out. And it doesn't look like she's going to be doing much of anything except getting the part of the Jeep. Because Orbazorp, you feel another spike hit you as if their very voices seem to have a tremorous effect. Regardless of where they're at, you know exactly where they're at. Even if you can't see them, you can sense them. Riley, Dr. Ambrosia restores to her old woman face. Now, Riley, I am so curious as to get you home. We have so many wonderful things to talk about.
I'm not going to do that, Doc.
So you wish to be difficult.
And her hand, her right hand starts to glow a little bit more red.
Okay.
Gazorpazorp over there is paying real close attention, and he would have at least seen the direction that she went in.
Yes, you can actually feel the direction where they're at.
Mm-hmm. He's going to mutter aloud something akin to, well, that don't feel right. And he's going to head in that direction, walk down that street.
Sure. You start heading that way. Your hand's glowing. Oh dear. Well, this is going to be rather difficult, but not impossible. You see, Riley, it's very urgent we bring you home. After all, the senior doctor has been discussing with the senior partners about options for you. And I think you might need additional therapy.
Are his burns coming along well?
Burns. Ah, yes. Application of fire. That produces a pain sensation, does it not?
In most instances, it does, there, Doc.
I'm sure he found that to be equally fascinating.
Wonderful.
But I'm
gonna walk over here now, and she begins to walk across the road.
And they prevent you from going any further.
Yeah, if any of them certainly get in my way, she's going to take with both hands and blast forward.
Absolutely, and fire erupts around them, and even from the perspective, Gazorpazorp, you see flames gout around the corner. Beacon and Thought, the same thing. Scarecrow, you've got a kind of a flash.
Not Scarecrow.
Scaredevil, my apologies.
I know. But this is so cool what's happening right now, I'm just saying.
Your Scaredevil, fire has erupted around the corner. Riley, you blast it as hot as you can make it, I would imagine.
Absolutely, and with as much force and so on and so forth to push away.
Absolutely, and you have the regular strength of a young woman your size and build, correct?
Yeah, you know what I mean, of a yes.
You blast away.
He couldn't say anything.
Reaches out of the fiery corona and grabs a hold of your wrist. I should have warned you. I've constructed the orderlies to be resistant to flame, my dear Riley. Now I'm afraid we're going to have to take things up a notch, as they say.
But are they resistant to explosion?
Oh yes. We've
Wonderful.
No expense in making sure we could bring you back to Morningside. We very much want you to come back willingly, but since that won't be an issue, I suppose we'll just have to do it the difficult way.
Yeah, and very rapidly you see Syndicate change from Riley. The flames are still there, so on and so forth, and it changes back into what normally Syndicate looks like, a half Asian man, so on and so forth. And his voice changes quite drastically and goes, we're not going anywhere, Doc.
Oh, Silas, how I've missed having these conversations with you.
Silas, yeah, he's my buddy. You know you're not talking to Silas right now, right, Doctor?
I'm aware of everything. Gazorpazorp, Thought, Beacon, what did you guys want to do?
I, of course, head towards danger
Oh, that's excellent.
as fast as I can, but I'm sure I'll be left far behind by Thought.
If Thought wishes to go into danger,
Thought wishes to go get close. He doesn't want to rush like into the danger itself, but he wants to be able to get close enough to see what's going on.
so
Like
you
a
wish to
vantage
rush
point
near
or
the
something?
peril, but you don't want to be like, no, it's too perilous. I get you.
Right. I mean, he's squishy.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously. Scaredevil,
Yes.
what would you like to do?
I say, I asked the officers, are we done here yet?
Yeah. You're done. You're done.
I checked my guns. Do you guys have any bullets?
You
Spare
have
bullets?
tons of
in?
bullets, Jackson.
Me
Yeah,
never
I
know.
assume you have tons of bullets on you.
Yeah. Because I thought he didn't have any.
No, this guy's just looking kind of dumbfounded by what's going on. Like, really? It's just around the block. Like, what the hell's happening here? That kind of mentality where they're not really ready for what's about to happen. Excuse me a second. Yes,
Yep.
What is it? Do you require food? You have food. Sorry, I've been distracted by the masters.
Yeah, I've been doing. I've been having that too.
Come on up.
Yeah, there's kittens in this house right now.
Go. Go get
Yeah,
food.
and they're taking a nap,
Thank
and that's
God.
good for me.
You've checked your weapons. You're good to go.
So I want to go towards the. So they're like in the alley, like in a street area.
They were on a
Yeah.
main street right around that block.
Is there like any like a roof for like a little building so I can get a little vantage point or something?
If you want to start climbing, I think you could probably get to the
Yeah.
top. All right, you begin
And
climbing.
I bet you I have a lot of guns on me, so I just
Yeah,
put
you
like
would.
I have like a sniper rifle, so I could just have like a little. You can just see it easier.
It
You
would
can
probably what I would say, Scaredevil, is this: you start climbing up there, and it'll probably take you a couple of seconds to switch your guns around. Takes
Yep.
a couple of seconds. You don't probably walk around with the sniper rifle on your
Nope.
back. You probably have it collapsed.
Yeah, have it in the bag or box.
Fair enough. It'll take a couple of seconds to assemble it.
Yep.
Thought is the first person around the corner to see what I've just described. Right about the time that Syndicate began speaking back to the doctor. Thought's like, boom, followed by a moment later. What did Gazorpazorp? You were already beginning to move over that way. Was that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Let me shove my headphones back in. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Gazorp headed that way. He had probably removed. I don't know if he has a holster or not, but he's definitely like got his gun in one hand and he's ready to punch with his other. But I'm not saying he's acting because it looked like visually it just kind of looked like the. It looked like she just kind of blasted at these 3 or 4 people, and they haven't actually responded yet.
No, they reached through the flame as if fire didn't even bother them or phase them.
And then they grabbed her.
One of them has a hand on her, and then she changed into
Right?
You changed into the Syndicate form, right, Corey?
Yeah, because all the other two forms just look like the Syndicate. The Ruckus and Justice all look like the same.
And
person.
she called you Silas.
And she called me by my government name.
Oh, your government name. Okay. Anyway, that's all well and good. He's actually like, I'm not sure how close he is, but what he'd want to do, especially if he thinks that she's endangered in any way, or and I think that Gazorpazorp has seen this happen before.
Yeah.
So it's not like, what the hell just happened? Yeah, he's going to run in and shoot, punch. Why not?
Very good. And Beacon, you're flying around the corner as well?
Yep.
Well, about the time that
My own question is, have we seen all of Corey's forms?
The only difference in appearance and so on and so forth is when he does become Riley. The other two are very much just a personality change, but a drastic personality change.
So you only have physical forms.
2 physical forms, a more feminine form, and then as it looks on the picture, he is a Asian descent man.
Okay. Carry on, Mark. I'm sorry.
No, that's cool. What I was going to say is this. Roughly about the time, Thought gets around the corner right about the time, as I said, Syndicate, you were having the conversation with Dr. Ambrosia.
Yeah.
And Thought is probably staying, you'd say, within about 15 to 20 feet. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Okay. You see several large figures, but now that you're looking at them, they don't seem to be like the orderlies you were expecting. These figures are probably around 6'8" and about 2 feet across. They're wearing white orderly uniforms, but they have no features, almost as if they're just store mannequins without faces. One of them is on fire. 2 of them are still on fire, but they're maneuvering as if flame normally has no effect. Syndicate, you also will see this as well. And Gazorpazorp, you come around the corner and you were going to do bang, bang, punch, punch, right?
Roger that.
And Scaredevil, you'll probably be in range of a good shot here in a second.
Yep. And I do see almost all of them.
Oh, they're out in the open. You see probably close to about 5 of these figures that I've described, and the older woman who was talking to, well, at first Riley, but now speaking directly to Syndicate.
Right.
And Syndicate, what you see from your perspective is, as the old woman is having this conversation with you, you see the blur of motion, which indicates that Thought is probably about 15 feet, 20 feet away.
Yep.
You see from your perspective, because you're looking out. So from that, let me see if I can do this fancy talk. So here we go. I'm going to do a little art for you. Somebody stole my black marker. What kind of person would do that?
That was me. Deal with it, dumbass. What? Should have protected it better.
Ken,
Yes, sir.
I like you.
I know
You
you.
don't have any problems going back to prison. I'll probably tell you that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, I will call Wes Wright. I will do it right now.
I could take Red West. I have no fear of that.
To lunch, to dinner, maybe to the movie. It's not Wes I worry about so much as Wes has a firearms collection that kind of bothers me sometimes.
So, just so you know who you're talking to here, you're not talking to, you're talking to Justice.
Yes.
And he is the good guy of the group.
Oh,
Until you piss him off.
oh, absolutely. But they came to bear. They apparently knew who they were coming to get. They did not, however, They did not expect, however, for Syndicate to have friends. So let's take a look real quick.
Too close. Back it up.
All right.
Yeah, perfect.
That's the X's represent the fellas. Scaredevil is on the roof. Beacon's coming around the corner. GA is Gazorpazorp. I kind of put Thought about the same space because I believe that's about where you're going to start firing.
All right, DA is the doctor.
Yes, Dr. Ambrosia.
Yep, Dr. Ambrosia. Fantastic.
At about that point, Gazorpazorp has Thought and Gazorpazorp round the corner first, and you can get level aim on them, Gazorpazorp, and fire if you want, or fire from effect if you like.
He does so.
Percentile dice if you would, sir.
You got it.
I appreciate it.
That is a, it's a 00 and a 6.
The bullets ring out. They strike around these figures. Again, coming around the corner and firing, you didn't quite get the best aim you would have liked, but clearly one of them gets hit probably by, I wouldn't even say accident. They're so close together. From Syndicate's perspective, what you see is that one of them takes a kind of a bullet, and it does that weird transmetal T1000 thing where there's a hole in it, and it registers there's a hole in it, and then it begins to slowly kind of, almost like a liquid putty, begins to kind of feel in.
Wonderful. These
Right.
guys are lovely to deal with.
Thought.
Thought at this point, trying to remember if Thought's seen both, I guess, forms of Syndicate. So Thought's going to run over to Syndicate.
They're trying to take me back. Thought.
Can I? I'm trying to think if I can. Can I pick up and run with?
Absolutely. Just make sure to hold his neck so he doesn't get whiplash.
Right. And it doesn't have to be like as fast as possible. But essentially, I want to try and get him closer to Gazorp where Beacon and Scaredevil are going to be coming.
Sure. Well, there is a blur of motion. Syndicate, you feel hands on you, but not the kind of rough hands you would expect from whatever the hell these things are.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to react, or do you just want to let him take you away?
I have the feeling that it is my new friend, and I am going to let it happen. But I'm definitely going to brace, knowing that it's going to be a high rate of acceleration.
Absolutely.
And so, I would sort of announce myself. So I'd pop in for just a second. Say, "Hey, want to get away?"
Yeah.
And then we'd go.
All right, Thought. You grab Syndicate, take off right into the back of the Morningside van. They give you the $5,000. You know, good job, Thought. Good job. In a blur of motion, Thought says something so fast that it doesn't even seem to register as language, to which Syndicate apparently agreed, and they're gone, like in a blur of motion, just like that. And Dr. Ambrosia, even her face contorts as if that's something that's something you don't see every day. Beacon.
Who's that?
That's you, Beacon. So you're
yeah.
playing a character called Beacon, and he's a hero, and it's your turn.
Okay. So there's some burning
There
people
are
without faces.
people without faces, men without hats.
Not burning people without faces. There's some woman in a doctor's coat, I guess.
She's very much wearing like a black kind of doctor's coat. Yes, I've got the picture up right now. Older woman, short gray hair.
Close, apparently.
She looks a lot like Glenn Close, like she could pass for Glenn Close.
Okay. But I didn't see any actual unpleasantness from these folks, and I just saw the blur of one of my companions moving the other one kind of away from these folks.
Yes, but give me a percentile dice roll, Beacon.
Oh Lord, 12. I guess I'll actually roll it. Probably won't get that high. Holy crap. 80.
As a hero, you've seen many things in your short experience. Have you come to trust your instincts as a hero?
Not as much as some, but I'm getting there.
But if you absolutely knew for a fact that there's something that's definitely wrong and evil, would you accept that as a strong instinct?
If I had a good sense that something was evil, I'd whack it unless it happened to be Scaredevil or Syndicate.
Right. This feels unnatural, otherworldly, as if you've interrupted something that happens off camera that's terrifyingly bad.
Different otherworldly than just all the otherworldly folks that live around us, right?
Absolutely. This is the sort of otherworldly where at this point, if we were playing Call of Cthulhu, you would be making a sanity check and possibly losing sanity points over. If we're playing Paranoia, you would have already shot your clone.
If I were a different character, I would have already blasted in, but I'm not sure that. I think what Beacon would do is just kind of delay. Just
Delay.
kinda wait and see what happens. Something's obviously wrong here, but he's not confident enough to jump in and attack someone without real provocation or evidence. He's not confident enough in his instincts yet to make that kind of leap.
You're going to hold off and use your reasoning. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, well,
In a superhero game, I'm running.
Yeah.
I want to take a picture of this. This is the first I've ever heard from anybody.
winner, chicken dinner.
You know what? You have basically, you got it going. I'm impressed, and you know what? You will win today's prize.
Is it a chicken dinner?
It is a chicken dinner,
Excellent.
and what's better, it's also basically a chicken dinner with the old recipe. Definitely
Nice.
old recipe.
Well, I can't eat that, so. Oh
Well, I guess then the Colonel shows up and demands that you fight the 13 flavor spice combat. He's very dangerous hand to hand. But Scaredevil, you've snapped the rifle onto your gun. You see Beacon hesitate for a moment. You look over the side of the roof where you've gotten elevation. You see a blur of motion, which can only be thought, and Gazorpazorp.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, that's thought.
And several of these faceless creatures that are with this weird old woman.
And I load up the gun
Yep.
and I look down the sights so I can see this better, right?
You look down the sights. You see 5 faceless men that must be close to 7 feet tall. One of them has a hole that's closing. You see an old woman, probably in her 70s, with short cropped gray hair, that's looking more and more surprised, as if this was not something she anticipated. Syndicate, she was anticipating. Syndicate's new friends, probably not anticipating as much.
Yeah. So where's Beacon?
Took off down the street with Syndicate, it looks like.
No, not Beacon.
Oh, Beacon's on.
Beacon,
Would it be safe to say that you're hovering a few feet off the ground nearby?
That is exactly
Did
correct.
the-
Probably just around the corner, whichever the last corner we came around, where I know.
Yeah.
I came around the corner. I saw these strange-looking entities, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell they're doing.
Is there anyone that has? Is there any ones that have like any like open holes or something in there? Like they got hurt or something?
Well, one of them looks like it was shot by Gazorpazorp, and when he got hit by it, it looks like there's a hole about the size of a baseball in the center of this guy. You can actually see through it for a moment, and this weird kind of, it's almost like flesh or putty or something like that.
It's like regenning.
It looks like that might be what it's doing, but it actually looks like the flesh of it is re-knitting.
And I get the sight on it, and then I just shoot it.
Okay. Can you roll percentile dice, please?
So that's 1 or 2. Because I'm done as well. Yep. That is 24.
You fire this, and this is a standard sniper rifle, like the military grade sniper rifle.
Yeah.
It makes an even bigger hole, and this thing actually seems like it's been stunned by that. Like it wasn't expecting that kind of damage.
Mhm.
And you put a bigger hole in it, and that one seems to falter for a moment, as if it's trying to figure out what it's supposed to do now, whether it's supposed to fall down or whether it's supposed
And I tried to signal Beacon. I tried to point him to one that I just almost went down.
Sure. Gazorpazorp. This word flashes in front of your mind. You know what these things are called.
Okay.
may not even recognize the word, but you know that that's what these are called.
Mm-hmm.
Wider Ganger.
Vida.
Vida Ganga.
What is he? Okay.
The best way to kill them you have found in the past is iron will do it. They're usually tied together within a certain thing. They're tied together, it looks like, by a greater force. They're actually not living creatures. They're a type of undead. Iron will do it, most notably true iron. You take the heads off, they'll keep coming, but if you take them off in a certain way, fire normally works unless they've been warded by usually some sort of power. They're relentless.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But you're fairly certain you have in your arsenal of bullets something that will work. The best way is to separate the head and then burn the body after the head is separated, and then dump the ashes in a body of water.
Okay.
Where that comes from, I have no idea, but that's usually what you've done in the past, if you remember any of your past, which I believe you said you were amnesic as to where you came from and what you did.
Yep.
Syndicate. You and come around a couple of blocks. How much space you want to put between yourself and Dr. Ambrosia, Thought?
Basically, I wanted to put us closer to just on the back side of Gazorpazorp.
Sure.
So that sort of with the assumption that Daredevil and Beacon would be coming, so we'd all just be in a group ready to combat whatever this thing is, or run away together, or whatever.
I'm on the roof shooting things down.
You are, buddy. Thank you for being our support.
You bring them around the other side of Gazorpazorp. Gazorpazorp, you're standing there in front of them. Beacon, you're hovering as if waiting to see something. And as you're standing there, Dr. Ambrosia has turned, takes a moment to try to take in a like what she's seeing. Looks directly at Gazorpazorp. I have no qualm with you, Aftadoror. I'm here for the one that belongs to us. If you give him to us, we will be on our way.
Can I get that name in writing?
Can you get that name in writing?
Or hear it again? I just totally couldn't.
No, it's all right. It's hard to say.
Oh, okay.
Aftadoror. Aftadoror. Yeah.
Sound like Goobly Goop to me.
It does sound like Goobly Goop to you.
Wow. Okay.
I have no qualm with you at this time. Allow me to take my charge back. Syndicate is very dangerous. He needs proper guidance.
I'm not dangerous, Gorp.
Well, I'm sorry. I was actually just thinking about how I wanted to approach this. I know what I want
No, that's
to do
fine.
here.
You know, I mean, she's saying that outwardly, right?
Were either of your Syndicate indications ever? I'm sorry, versions of Syndicate. Were any of them ever? And this is the trouble with not playing regularly. Were we ever chummy?
No, I mean, it's certainly Riley would have been, friendly. Absolutely. You haven't met Justice yet, because Gazorpazorp hasn't. He hasn't been real outward. Ruckus would be standoffish, and the normal Syndicate, personality is pretty introverted, quiet. But certainly Riley would have been very helpful. Friendly to him.
Well, having learned that, Gazorpazorp was all ready to charge in, but instead he's going to look around on the streets and see if there's like some loose rebar or a street sign he can grab or anything, ironish. You said I might have bullets that would be iron tipped?
Yes, in fact, your gun, when you look through your pouches that you'd brought with you when you woke, quote unquote, woke up, there are bullets that seem to be very different than normal weapons.
Well, does G have a revolver or a pistol?
I assumed you had a revolver, like a
Yeah, it's a
like an
revolver.
old heavy
Revolver.
6-shot.
Yeah. Old like Colt or something.
Yeah. Dirty Harry style.
Yeah. To change weapons, how does that work?
You just have to declare that's what you want to do, and she has her hand up like, I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight you.
Okay, I'm totally. I will stop charging. Gazorp will stop charging. He'll assume like a defensive-ish stance, but not like heavily aggressive, if that makes any sense at all. And very slowly, he's going to absolutely dump out what bullets he has, put them in one pocket, and start just and load, spin. And he would mutter something like, "Don't know you, lady, but the fella's been nothing but nice to me."
There's no need for this. We respect the ancient bonds. Again, he may have been nice to you, but he is not of your kind. He is a danger. He is a threat. We were his guardians, and he ran away. We would like to return him to where he would find safety and that we can oversee what needs to be done.
Have I loaded my gun at that point?
You're almost down to your load.
Mhm.
Thought, you're behind him. Syndicate, you're next to Thought. Beacon, you're hovering nearby, and Scaredevil, you're on the roof. She has her hands up, very, very much in the, I don't want any trouble, we mean no will to you. We simply wish to retrieve our little lost lamb.
As soon as he is done loading,
She's lying to you, Garbazorp.
Gazorpazorp is actually going to say, "Sounds like slavery to me," and he's going to, start pulling triggers at her.
All right.
That sounds like a great idea, doesn't it?
Gazorpazorp begins to fire on her. Syndicate, what do you wish to do?
All right, so
Can I hop in here?
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just kind of double take Gazorpazorp and what I assume is Scaredevil. What are you doing?
We're trying to save a friend here.
The friend is right here. She's safe. Nobody's taking her. Right? And I'll look over at the doctor woman.
Well, the doctor woman is being riddled with bullets. Let me answer that in just a second. Let me find. So your Beacon, your general action at this point is that you're.
Well, I haven't seen these guys do anything actually aggressive.
No, but I will again remind you that they are about 7 feet tall with no features, and one of them had a hole about the size of a.
Right, but that was made by damn Scaredevil. So
yes, and it's but the other one's
that was made by us. Yeah, what?
They're closing.
They're menacing, coming.
The holes are closing that have been made.
Right. But
It's basically like Deadpool.
wait. I look around me. I look at Gazorpazorp. I look at everybody around me. None of them look normal.
No.
They move super speeds.
Sure.
So just because somebody has a power doesn't mean they're bad.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. The only thing I would say is that if you recall, I said that there's definitely a feeling of wrongness.
I think there's a feeling of wrongness about Gazorpazorp.
Absolutely, but there's an unnatural feeling of wrongness about these things.
If you're telling me they feel evil, then that's one thing. But just feeling unnatural, I suspect I run into that all the time.
No, you don't. That's
Right.
what I was trying to get across. I'm sorry if that's not quite what happened. What I'm trying to say is that when I'm saying they feel unnatural, it is the most non-natural feeling you had from anything. They should not be. It should not be, and it leaves a feeling of, the closer you get to them, the more that feeling seems to amplify. You haven't gotten real close to them yet. Clearly, they're not natural looking.
Let me do this.
Looks shady.
I'll point at them the whole lot, and I'll just say, stand down, or we'll have to deal with the situation. I assume they don't.
They do not, except for the woman who's been shot several times. But that doesn't seem to be
I
slowing.
can't wait to shoot him again.
Can I get past them to get to the woman?
You can always do that. They're not stopping you from getting to her.
All right, then that's what I'll do. I'll go grapple her.
Oh, okay. Right about the time you're about to grapple her, another series of bullets hit her from above.
Yep.
Thought you are behind Gazorpazorp and Syndicate. Was there anything else you wanted to do besides take up a defensive position?
I want to try and figure out what these are. Syndicate. What's going on? Who are these people? Like, how do you fight these things? Like, because I've seen them start to knit back up, right?
Yes.
Like, what did you get involved with?
Well, fire works pretty good usually, but she lit them up and they didn't take to that very well this time. So I'm gonna do this, and Justice kind of concentrates a little bit, kind of rolls his hands around, kind of in a circle, and that good old van starts to rise in the air.
Oh no!
Another vehicle you're able to grab. You're not trying to grab one of their vehicles, are you?
Oh, I am trying to grab that van that they were trying to put me in, and I'm gonna let that fall on top of them.
It does not go anywhere. In fact, when you reach out to grab it, your telekinetic does not register any tactile sensation from it, like it's not really there. Like it's a kind of a weird, like, if you're putting your hand in a bar of light and you can pierce the light. It's that weird feeling. The vehicles around it that are parked, they're there. You can easily grab one of those without a problem.
Is it okay for me to realize that's happening and
Absolutely.
the vehicle that's parked next to it to pick that up?
Absolutely.
It's a nice minivan.
Yeah, sure. Not a problem.
And
why does it be a minivan?
Because it's big enough to squash a couple people, Jackson.
Also, they're prevalent in the city. So you can grab a minivan, not a problem. Beacon, you've rushed over to her. She's down on the ground, face down. Give me a percentile dice roll, please.
Yes, 13.
What?
Even better. This woman has suffered massive gunshot wounds. She's on her stomach. Do you want to roll her over to check on her wounds?
If that's what if she looks like she is in a dying type of situation, and I think that's what I need to do, then yes, I will do that.
Well, you definitely see she's down, face down on the ground. You've rushed over to the situation. If you feel that you need to roll her over, you put your hand on her shoulder and flip her over.
Yep.
And as you flip her over, the two things that hit you are once. One is I need another percentile dice roll from you, please.
Surely I can do better than that last one. Ooh, 78.
Much better. As a veteran D&D player, you are familiar with what happens when you look directly at a banshee when she's doing her death call.
Yep.
For a brief moment, if you weren't a super person who had generally a good heart and sought to do the greater good, it could be a real problem. you realize the thing that you have a hold of is not a person. It is not even a human within. It just has the shape right now. It is without a doubt dag nasty evil. And for the briefest moment, you got a glimpse of what it really looked like. But your will of being a hero, far greater than your ability to shirk it off, you're able to tolerate it and take it in as you see now the face of evil in a way that just seems beyond comprehension. So that sound about right?
All right. Yep. So now I can whoop it when my time comes.
Absolutely. You could beat the living hell out of it. But between that, Scaredevil, you see that Gazorpazorp has switched out his ammunition. Thought, you notice from your perspective, because as your senses pick up time in a different way, the large hulking figures have all stopped, and they've all turned their attention toward Gazorpazorp, specifically toward Gazorpazorp, and they begin to lumber toward him. About the time they get about 3 feet toward him, a minivan hits a good chunk of them. I'd say out of the 4 that were down on the ground, 3 of the 4 of them have been hit by a minivan with enough force that you see the minivan. It said, well, obviously the alarm starts going off.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. And then it kind of dies away as the minivan kind of crunches around them. It's kind of a funny thing if it wasn't for the fact of how much that just seems to be wrong. You just see a minivan kind of wrap around these people, and then it catches fire. And then, to quote the immortal words of Galaxy Quest, then it explodes.
Then be like, oh, damn. Like in the movies.
Absolutely. From that perspective,
Yeah.
your chamber rolls around, and now you have full iron bullets back in the chamber. Beacon has a hold of this thing, which for that brief moment, you recognize that it had to have been what you would have called, and again, not having the memory, you know it's called an emissary. And the emissary seems to basically be, to be blunt with it, they're here for a very specific purpose. They're like the equivalent of overseers and lieutenants and whatever they serve.
Right? Sorry, taking notes.
Wow.
Is this Gazorpazorp's time to do some chopping?
We're back up to Gazorpazorp.
He's actually going to kind of run up on this and try and take almost a flying kick right to the thing's head, and he's trying to pulverize its head basically.
Okay. Well, the good news you have is the fact that Beacon has a solid hold on it.
Yeah.
Beacon is strong enough that if you go up and kick it, the odds of basically Beacon not letting go of it are fairly high. So it's like you run up and kick, and I'll need a percentile dice roll, please.
94.
Wow. Beacon, you're about to punch the hell out of Unholy Evil when Gazorpazorp comes over and kicks the crap out of it. Doesn't move. You still got a solid hold on it, but its head definitely snaps around. It almost does that kind of weird cartoony thing where the head snaps back 3 feet from the...
Or like it spins around or something.
Yeah, and it snaps right back to where it's at. It definitely... If it could howl in pain and still maintain, it's almost as comical as watching Jim Carrey. The jaw is distended. It's actually now cursing at you in a language that many of you are not familiar with, but Gazorpazorp, you recognize what it's saying. It's cursing you. It's cursing your house. It's cursing your people. It's cursing pretty much any of your descendants. It's also cursing effectively the time, day, season, and animal you were born under. And you seem to have heard it greatly. Thought.
What a pleasant woman.
Yeah, that seems pretty rude.
It does, doesn't it? Not very polite at all. Thought, we're up to you.
trying to think of what I could do. So, all right. So the ones that were lumbering towards us are all taken care of.
Well,
There's-
one of them's still lumbering towards you. One of
okay.
them was not caught in the minivan explosion.
Okay. I will run around, try and find some rope or something.
Sure. Easy enough. Rope,
Uh,
rope, rope, rope.
Huh?
Rope, rope, rope. You're able to find something you can use.
Yeah. And then I want to try and tie up this thing lumbering towards us so that it trips.
Fair enough. Give me a percentile dice roll, please.
Uh, 55.
From your perspective, Gazorp, when you kicked this thing, you kind of rolled onto your feet. There's one of these lumbering creatures that was about to turn directions and head back towards Syndicate. And then you see what looks to be a combination of like the rope you have at a pull to mark off the deep end, place cordon rope, looks like the kind of bell rope that you find at major awnings. A whole chunk of things wrap around this thing at super speed. And this thing reaches out and then falls almost comically flat on its face. It is almost cocooned in the amount of rope you're able to put on it. Thought. It's
Excellent.
funny because it's actually like it's still trying to move, but it's like watching the mummy's creeping hand. The hand is moving and it's trying to drag the body, but that's about all you're getting out of it.
Okay.
But
Beacon,
like he also like face plant too.
absolutely. Beacon?
Oh, she's still moving, right?
Somewhat, because Orbizorp's kick took a lot of thunder out of her, but definitely she was able to take that kick.
Oh, well, I wonder if she can take that kick and I hate evil punch right to the face.
You know what?
Basically,
That's going to be a tough thing to take once you make that roll.
It's gonna be a what?
That'll be a tough thing to take.
How about a 97?
Jesus. Okay.
Wow.
Now, Beacon, do you let go of her when you punch, or do you keep holding on to her while you punch?
I'm probably gonna hold on to her. I don't want her getting away.
Oh, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Gazorp really started the kick going, and the next thing you see is Beacon's mighty fist slam into the midsection of this creature with the super punch of anti-evil behind it. I think the best way to describe is they probably hear the bones breaking as far north as Harlem and as far south as New Jersey. That was a solid punch against evil. If it's shaking, poor Glenn Close, she's not doing so well. She's not looking real good. She definitely looks like she's seen better days. She doesn't. I can only describe what happens next is it seems that wispy tendrils of shadow were coming off of her before Gazorp hit her. And after he hit her, a lot of them began to kind of split out like almost like a blood stain. But when Beacon hits her, it's like almost watching one of those things that splats against glass. It just goes everywhere. These shadowy tendrils fly in every direction. And it looks like whatever you're holding that's left, while there's probably still something there, it isn't basically liking its existence at this time. Maybe it made a bad career choice in signing up to be part of the Morningside Clinic. It's beginning to rethink that maybe it's done a terrible disservice to its people, if it had people. Syndicate, you've seen all of this. What would you like to do?
He would definitely approach to where the now tied up last orderly thing that he's dealt with for the last while is, and kind of just walks up to it and goes, "You're never gonna win, but it doesn't look like you're moving. Hey guys, we might want to get out of here. Like now. Yo, devil.
Zorp chimes in and says, "Gotta burn him."
Why would we
Yeah,
leave?
yeah, that didn't work so well. They seem to have a little bit of something against that. The girl didn't work.
And because he has a lighter and a stump of a cigar from somebody, he's gonna try and just like literally light one on fire.
All right.
But
Hold that thought for half a second. Scared Rebel, you provided excellent cover from the roof.
Yep.
Would you like to do anything else?
I guess I do have like smoke bombs on me or something like something I can.
That's
I
fair
say,
enough.
guys, I gotta just go. I got something.
Why?
And then I have my hands out. I show them the smoke bombs or something.
Sure, you got smoke grenades. It's fair enough. Do you want to toss
Yeah.
them or do you just want to hold on to them?
I'd be like, when they're like finishing up that, I just got I undisassembled the sniper rifle I had.
Sure. So you're gonna provide if they need an escape without being seen. You're gonna
Yeah.
provide. Okay.
I'd be like, guys, I got the smoke bomb, so if we need to get out of here quick, I can throw it down, then we can run.
Sounds
Kind of
good.
like ninja style.
Oh, I get what you're doing. You're setting up an escape in case you need to get out of here quick. Because Zorp, Syndicate's telling you that they're not on fire, and Syndicate, what you're also seeing is that the moment that you actually touch the cigar stub to this creature, it immolates. It's the weirdest thing you've ever seen. It takes off like it's been on fire.
All right. Well, are the other three paced?
For the most part, they are.
And the fire took care of them from the exploding minivan.
It wasn't necessarily the fire, you think. You're not sure what it was. It's just that they're not moving from underneath the wreckage. It could have been the fire. There is a fire here, and you're next to an already existing crime scene. People are beginning to take notice of it, but the creature that's in your hand, Beacon,
Yep.
makes no difference. We'll catch up with you when you least expected, Syndicate. Their will won't be undone. And then it looks at you with one good eye.
I'm not alone anymore, Doctor.
You will be. It's in your nature.
This is
And
true.
it dissolves through Beacon's hands onto the ground into a puddle of what used to be Glenclose.
That's funny.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we probably should go like now, and that way. And I point. And I point. What?
Beacon's still asking.
Yeah, I still want to know why we have to go. What the hell's going on? Well, he wouldn't say what the hell, but
Well,
what's going on?
that fine woman that you just fought there.
Yeah.
She's the one that you was imprisoning me.
Oh, her.
Shouldn't we stay
And her
here and
people.
figure out what's going on? I don't understand why we're leaving.
can Gazorka chime
I
in?
don't
I guess we can. You're far enough away, Jackson. You probably can't even really communicate with us, really.
Oh,
No, I
would
jumped
probably
down.
climb down from
You're
the.
all pretty
from the
close. The
building.
only one that's thought came back and tied that one up. You're all within I would say communication with each other is still possible. You're just,
I'm like just yelling so much. I'm like,
I mean, is there nothing to be
Well,
found here?
I understand. Thought. And the voice changes again. It's the issue would be how are we going to explain what happened here to the authorities that are on the other side of the building?
But don't they need to know if these things are running around? I would think the authorities should know. Maybe explain it to us
Never
first.
thought about it that.
Maybe that would be a good start.
I never thought about that way before. I usually just run from them.
Gazorp, having set the only complete body on fire, is going to check and try and set fire to anything else he can. And he'll start speaking loudly about things like, I've been following these guys most of my life. They're always evil. Stop me if I should stop. They're, undead, and yeah, got to beat the crap out of them.
Have to.
Undead what?
Goo. He points to the goo.
Goo can be dead? I don't understand any of this.
There's a word that you can use along with that other word, which you call them, the Weitergangers. That's what they're also called.
Supposed to mean something to me?
Beacon, when you're looking at these creatures and how they're bubbling, there's no way a living creature can emoliate that quickly.
Exactly. How can you be undead when you're not even alive in the first place? None of this makes any sense. If we can't deal with it,
Do you
how are
think
they supposed to deal with it? I point back towards where the guys we were helping out earlier are.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to be real honest here. It's not something that I've quite thought about before.
In fact, now you're thinking about it,
I think Beacon has something here. We should let them see what is been imprisoning me. I think that's a wonderful idea.
I'm not saying we put it on the news, but shouldn't at least the UN folks be in on it?
Didn't we burn all the bodies?
Yep.
Okay.
There's crap still. There's still they didn't just disappear into wispy nothing. There is actual puddles of something.
No ash?
They didn't burn like ash. Plus, the minivan did a good number of them. The ash that exists is kind of it's not sooty. It's more of like a burned plastic sort of, almost.
Gazorpazorp's going to
burnt plastic
of metal around that he can pick up and start to scoop it all into a pile.
Okay, fair enough. Well, ironically, yes, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to get down the roof so I can talk to my group.
Absolutely. You know what? Because of your agility, Scaredevil, and the fact that you're used to doing this,
I just
I just assume you're almost Daredevil-like in how you maneuver. You just drop down a couple of flights, you're fine. I assume you're already down there.
Yeah.
Ironically enough.
Go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead.
No, you.
No, you.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay, well then, what I was going to say is, I assume you can get down there without a problem. You're all together down there as what looks to be that the people around the corner have begun to take a greater interest in what's going on down here. And a few of the NYPD, the New York's finest, have come around the corner and are beginning to motion for the federal authorities to come around the corner. And a couple of seconds later, now the feds have arrived.
I started walking towards them.
Sure. What's going on?
And say, well, it's very complicated. I think with my group, I think you should come over and talk. We all know what happened, so it's very hard to say for one person. So,
I'll tell you what. Let me get a bishop level agent over here, and he calls over. And a moment later, one of the people that would have split off and comes over. What's going on?
But Beacon is basically paying undivided attention to whatever the hell Daredevil thinks he's doing. But he'll let him.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how Scaredevil's going to explain this.
I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help out here, okay?
A gentleman that looks basically comes over a little bit, and all right, what can I? What's going on here?
So okay. So as the okay, me, Beacon, and Thought were at the bar
Okay,
during.
hold on a second.
Then Gazuba going. Yep.
1 second. Bishop level agent comes over. You, the big fella here, Beacon, and that fellow over there were at the bar that we just busted down. Okay. And then what happened?
I'm gonna throw.
And we were
So,
I'm sorry, Ken, I didn't quite catch
I
that.
was I'm throwing worried glances at everyone that isn't Scaredevil.
All right.
yeah.
The bishop.
And
so you were at McCready's. You were
Yep.
part of that group that went in and busted up McCready's.
yes.
All right.
So rather quickly inside of Scaredevil's mind,
Oh no, I know
he
it's
hears,
coming.
"Shut up!"
The bishop level agent sort of looks. Are you all right?
Just one of my group members just did something to me, and I just can't. I gotta shut up.
Yeah. So the agent what has occurred here is that I believe that the people that are imprisoning me, they had found me
In
just
prison.
now, and they seem to have found their demise. They're very evil people, and we took care of that situation because we knew that you were preoccupied with what was happening over there at McCready's. You know, it's certainly something that we we don't need any thanks or anything like that. But as you can see, it is one of those beans that have to be burned. Hey, Gazorb, you seem to have a bit of knowledge on this type of creature. Maybe you could explain to the agent, what we're dealing with.
Sure. Meanwhile, has Gazorp been successful in gathering up most of the goo?
Everything that's left, you're able to scrape it together.
How big a mass we talking?
Let's say probably as you could probably put it all on top of a manhole cover and make it about 2 inches deep, maybe 3.
When whichever version of Syndicate's out there speaks, Gazorp kind of like looks up and looks around and kind of notices this for the first time. He was intent on, and he walks up and he again, stop me when I need to. Says,
I'll stop you a second.
okay,
Just,
good.
In a comic book, you would see that little thought bubble above Beacon's head, and he's like face palming himself in his mind.
He's like,
But carry on.
Nice. Gazorp walks towards this gathering and says, sure, they're dead. They come back, they make goo, they burn them, they turn to ash. Speaking of burning,
The agent puts his hand up.
yeah.
Is this a mystical threat?
Yeah, you.
Is this a
Listen,
mystical threat?
some kind of like Greek fire.
Okay, so this is a mystical threat. Am I understanding you correctly?
I don't know.
Seems like it. That sounds right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it feels like it should be a magic. It's a magic thing. The agent looks and goes, let me make a phone call.
I believe you're right, there, agent.
Oh, the agent is saying it's a. I'm sorry, I was.
You're quite
The agent's
wise.
actually looking at you saying this is a magic related thing.
Oh, he'll absolutely nod and say, yeah, Greek fire. You got something burns. Got to get rid of that.
Well, let me make a phone call. He hits this little communicator. I need a top hat agent here now. And a moment later, a woman comes out from around the corner wearing a suit similar to like a nice dress suit. And she has a blue tattoo in the center of her forehead of an eye. And she goes, hello.
Does
Somebody
she
said there
have
was
a
a-
top hat on?
She does not have a top hat. She has a little pin that has a top hat on.
Disappoint.
Yeah. Well, it's the name of the group. She basically looks over at what's happening. Oh my. Which one of you has attracted Drager into the situation?
The Zorp raises his hand. This one, I did. I tracked him everywhere I go. I always find him.
You tracked Drager?
Well, I run into him a lot, so I assume that I am.
I see. She looks at you for a moment, and you have the strangest feeling that she's staring at you in a way that's not just looking with her eyes.
He's going to say, kind of annoyedly, "Hey, quit that! Quit that!"
She blinks a couple of times. Were they after you?
Who can say? He shrugs.
Um,
I mean, chime in.
no. They were after me.
Turns to look at you, and you feel that weird feeling that she's staring at you with a means of psychic observance. Doesn't last very long. In fact, it lasts less time than she was looking at Gazorpazorp. This is a relatively significant thing. They must have really wanted you to send this kind of group. It's wise to burn everything.
Yeah,
yes,
it's
we should also call. I can sanctify.
use,
Go ahead.
the leader got away.
Oh, I don't think. I think that if what you said is true of these things, this was just their overseer. Their leader probably wouldn't come himself. However, these are terrible mystical things that are here, and they're pursuing you for obvious reasons.
When she says overseer, because Zorp is nodding and he mutters, "Yeah, you know, the emissaries."
The woman stops at that moment and says, "This was an emissary.
Believe so.
I must report this immediately." And you two, she points at Thought and Beacon. You were here for this as well?
I was.
Yes.
I encountered this, and I look at Goobly Goop emissary, took it on in hand-to-hand combat, crushed its skull before it turned to smoke and dissipated.
She looks actually surprised. You actually destroyed an emissary with your hands?
Well, again, it was talking afterwards and turned into smoke. And to be clear, there were several bullets riddled the body before I got to it. But
Zorp has pulled out his revolver, and he's doing that Old West thing where you kind of spin it and check chambers.
The woman
Yeah.
who's been here, the top hat agent, goes, "I must tell someone of this at the, please bear with me for a moment." And she takes out her wrist communicator and begins relaying what you told her, and then keeps looking at your group, and then she waits and puts her earpiece in and listens, looks back at your group a couple of times. One of them actually touched it. Two of them actually touched it. It was an emissary in Manhattan. I thought there were defenses against this. They were after this one. No, I concur completely. She's talking. At about that moment, the heroine Bumblebee, who is at the other scene, has now moved into your area and is listening. And she goes, "I think that it's all right. We will take jurisdiction on this now. We will take care of these people. Thank you very much for your help."
who is she talking to?
The top hat agent.
Okay.
Bumblebee turns to your group. He'll want to see you immediately. This puts a new angle on things.
He.
Yeah, Zorp.
This wasn't related to the bar incident.
Obviously, Top Hat thinks that it is.
But I mean, they were here to get. Are you a man or a woman now, Corey?
It's still a woman. Oh, yeah. Corey's still justice, right? Syndicate,
Come again? Sorry.
you're still justice at the moment?
No, he's turned directly back into what would be Silas Syndicate, whatever, you know what I mean, whatever you want to call him.
And we're here to collect him.
Well, I must tell you,
Yes.
the director will want to talk to all of you.
Wait, who?
The director of the international operations.
Her boss.
Yes, he'll want to speak.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay, okay.
Is that acceptable?
I'll be glad to
I'm fine with
Are we
any way that I can.
Zorp,
are we being taken in? Are we being arrested?
No, it's more of a conversation at this point.
Zorp is going to say, don't mind going with you, but we got to take care of this first. And he points to the goo.
The top hat agent has begun sprinkling things, and you hear it sizzling like bacon on a hot plate.
What's it smell like?
You know what it actually smells like?
Oh,
It
boy.
smells like goat fat that's being roasted with a
What?
combination of butter and scallions and marinated in the finest Puget swamp water that a person can find.
I made that just yesterday. Not
Yes,
beefing,
but
but
yours
beef.
was a bacon
What?
dip. Yours was a dip. And it looked great.
It's goat fat, swamp water. Good to go.
And
Well,
it smells
with
bad.
Zorp's going to go, yeah. And listen, I apologize. I'll be back in about 2 minutes. I got to run outside and get a plug.
Roger.
Actually, let's take 2 minutes. I need to take a natural break myself.
A natural break? That's what the bucket's for.
Sounds like bio to me.
All right. 2
Exactly.
minutes. 2 minutes.
That's what they call it on the Tour de France.
Let's do
Have a
three.
natural break.
Let's do 3 minutes. 3 minutes? I'll
3
to
minutes,
a break as
perfect.
well. I'll be back.
And returned.
Okay, one's returned. One has.
Sorry. I was just having a conversation with Crystal. Hello, Bixby.
Well, alright, Ben. This is so much fun for me.
Well, let's see if you can see what happens next. How many people are back?
I know.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
They're both bad.
Well, it's not a
I'm
it's not a deep cut. Ah, God, there's so much of them.
I was back, but then I left, and then I'm back again.
Welcome back and goodbye and welcome back.
So I don't know how many times I count as being back.
Let's just call it the one, and we'll just assume that the one stands for many.
Okay, doke.
I hath arrived back as well.
Welcome back.
It's about time. Hurry the hell up.
What do you think, Bixby? That's Wookie. Never mind.
I think he likes it when the window's open.
He does. Wookie enjoys the windows. Bixby will get up there, and then Wookie complains for an hour that Bixby is in the window.
But also he blends in with the window too.
He does. The other one does too. The other one's a tuxedo as well. So sometimes you can come in here and it's like, okay, who's where? Okay, I get
Any
it.
members of Top Hat?
No, they're part of an anti-establishment organization called, CAT.
Black Hat?
Criminals, Anarchists, and
CAT.
Terrorists. CAT. Right, Wookie?
I see what you did.
Who's that, Wookie? What's that over here? Who's that, Wookie? What's that? You want to get back in the window?
Meow! 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 Meow!
It won't work. It won't work.
Ken, both of my dogs perked up when you started meowing.
Ken is having an identity crisis.
Like cat.
Oh, that's been going on for a couple years now. And I am so glad that I'm having it.
You know what? It's better that you have an identity crisis with the identity you know, rather than an identity crisis with an identity you don't know.
I'm thinking of changing my name to Syndicate.
Then you'd be Syndicate. Because apparently I may find another.
Actually, you would be then called Kindicate. You were Syndicate, but now you're Kindicate.
So I'm thinking, talking to the boss doesn't sound like a terrible idea.
Well, with that being the case, if you're agreed to go talk to the boss, there's a moment of fluttering energy around you, and you're no longer where you were in the greater New York metropolitan area.
I'm like I'm like
down with that.
oh god.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jackson. I'm sorry.
I was like he's trying to keep himself like not to try to be like Hugo or something. He's trying to keep himself like professional, like
Sure.
Like, he's not trying to.
You can keep cool under any circumstance. The benefit of wearing a full face mask is you never have to show anybody fear, emotion.
That yellow stain in your crotch, on the other hand.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, a few moments later, you're standing what looks to be a building. It's not a building. You're in a room that's all white. And there's a younger man standing at the base of what looks to be a step that you have to step down. Hi, he'll see you. If you follow me, I'll take you right to him.
Excuse me, son.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't be son. It'd be excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I'm going to have to insist that in the future you give people warning before whatever you just did.
Very good, Shankra. From now on, give people warning. He just says it up like he's talking to the ceiling. Duly noted.
I
My
wouldn't want
apologies.
confusion and mayhem to happen.
No, of course not. I apologize. Well, to be fair, I just realized you were going to be here. He doesn't really tell me when people arrive. But if you'll follow me, I'll take you right to him.
Sure, I just don't want you to get hurt. Some of my companions are.
Oh, I'm not worried about that. No, I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you for your concern. While I take you to him, will you need any refreshments? Can we provide you with anything? I can have it set up by the time we get there.
Gazorpazor nods and says protein and liquor.
The protein, most certainly. I'll have to see. We normally run a dry station, but I'm sure it can be arranged. Preference, whiskey, beer,
Sure.
pina colada?
He just says sure.
Right. Excellent. And for you, sir, in the black face mask, anything we can-
He needs some
and he,
wax.
I would like just give me like a water or something.
I'll have it set up for you. And looks at Syndicate. Anything I can get for you, sir, have set up for you?
You know my name.
Yes, we do.
Do you know all of them?
We have a pretty good idea.
You know a man named Jeeves?
Sir, what was your name? I rudely interrupt, which is quite.
My name is Paul. My name is Paul Perry, and
Paul?
I'm the senior administrator here.
Paul, Mr. Perry.
Just Paul.
I appreciate what you're doing here, but can we be going to see what it is we're going to see while we're doing it?
Oh, we are, actually.
Is it more of that stuff like just happened?
No, actually, Shankra's moving the transporter room to the command section while we're here.
Where is here?
I believe we're still about 16,000 miles in geosynchronous orbit. I'm not sure
Above the
where
planet.
exactly we're at right now. I wasn't in the command center. We're aboard Shankra. Shankra is 16,000 miles above the planet.
Wonderful.
I think we're above New York.
I require nothing.
Excellent. Well, the door slides open. If you'll follow me through command, I'll take you right into his office.
Okay.
Mr. Deckard is most interested in having a conversation with you.
Decker.
Yes. You enter into a room which looks like it could be a step-down area. The first thing you notice there's a lot of white, featureless male and female robot-looking bodies moving around independently, roughly about average size. There are a number of people at different stations, as if you're in a command and control room, if you're familiar with those look like. Uh-oh. Hold on a moment. Do you need my help?
I might.
It's easier to do it. Bear with me 1 second.
Yeah, I think I need.
Hang on 1 second, fellas. I got to give the cat his medicine. You want me to hold him, or do you want to?
No problem.
Okay. Put him down the bed. Okay. All right, baby.
Cat meds.
I got him.
Sure you got him?
I've got him. Okay, you got it. All right. Sorry about that. Thank you, Crystal.
Sorry, baby. I wish I could have done it by myself.
No, it's fine. I think everybody's okay. We just have to give the cat oral antibiotics. And as such, as you can imagine, the cat is resistant to the oral antibiotics. So, Mr. Deckard's in the other room. He's expecting you. Your refreshments should be there. I'll be here when you're ready to go. And they have a holographic planet which has lots of little red dots on it, probably between 15 and 20 at any one time. And the doors leading into there are double doors to your right, which lead into what looks to be a larger room with frosted glass. Mr. Deckard.
We see Mr. Deckard?
When you enter the room, you will.
Okay, I'll walk in. Mr. Deckard, I presume?
He's sitting in a chair behind a desk. He's wearing what looks to be just very casual clothing at the moment. A man probably in his mid-50s with dark hair, drinking coffee out of a mug. There's a table which has a set of, looks like a large plate of chicken wings and steak bits with a large mug, almost like a good old-fashioned chug-a-mug. Several bottles of water.
What kind of chicken wings?
Non-spicy. There's little bowls. Hello, Bixby. That's the other tuxedo.
That was great.
You all right there, Bix? Doing okay? You ready for round two, are you? Okay, good job. So, Deckard looks at you, waits for you to take a seat. Please.
Mm-hmm.
You're the group that dealt with McCready's this evening. Thought.
We were there to help. We had some part in it.
Did you want any refreshments, Thought? Thought.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. Just some milk would be good.
You have milk. It's the breakfast of champions. Deckard looks at you with very interesting, just sort of stares and especially Thought. You're from Minnesota, aren't you?
What? Yes, but how do you? I guess you've got files on us all.
Well, considering that I make it a point to know everybody who's about to come on board Shankra, I got the 15-minute overview in 5 minutes. You dealt with that issue earlier with ARC.
Right. Yeah, that was.
Then you went to McCready's on your own?
Hmm?
You went to McCready's on your own?
Well, not myself, but it was us.
Then you exposed McCready's to a Aegis assault group, which had the single netted group of criminals that are on our lists the last few months. And then I'm called frantically by Top Hat saying that an emissary was dispatched in downtown Manhattan that was looking for Pointed Syndicate U. Hell of an evening.
An accurate descriptor.
Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was tempted to bring you up here when I first heard that you had a hand in the McCready assault. And then I found out you were part of the ARC assault. And then this happened. It occurs to me that you've had a lot of dominoes fall into the same place. That's a hell of a night. So why don't you tell me what led you to McCready's?
Was business card, wasn't it? Now look over it. Was it Google found it?
It doesn't
Wait,
look-
and also I have a favor too, because I took a piece of paper from the art guy.
We got a lead, sir.
Go on.
Well, you seem to know most of all of us.
I want to hear basically how you came about what you came about.
Does Zorkzorb still have the actual invitation?
Yeah.
Oh, he just puts it down as he picks up what he presumes is his big mug of something, and starts reading a little book.
Mead.
Whatevs. Seems fitting, actually.
to be honest, sir, I was minding my own business in Central Park and was contacted by a man named Jeeves. He
Jeeves.
kind of led me to this rundown hotel where I ran into the master man here and Speedster. And don't really remember what happened after that, but we got a lead that we should go to. Yes, well, we dealt with that Ark fellow, and then we got some information that we might get more information at McCready's. You know, it is where all the non-desirables hang.
And then the group of you, the 5 of you, went to McCready's at various stages of cover, walked in, and was able to stir the pot enough that it caused more of an issue. Did you find out anything interesting at McCready's that you didn't tell Aegis?
There's, as you might suspect, there are more layers to the whole art situation than what is at first apparent. Apparently, Ark was hired to, and he kind of looks around at the rest of the group, says, to capture an old man. Is that right? Capture him?
Any of you get a look at this old man?
I did not.
Didn't you mention that we did actually see an old
You
man?
did. Yeah.
Yes. I described him to the best of my ability to recollect.
The center of his desk, a little thing pops up and a little light begins to spin, and you see it beginning to build like a holographic image of a face. Tell me when it gets close.
I will do so.
The old man, and after a moment, it has a pretty good likeness. And then it hits a point, and something illuminates under his desk. His eyes look down for a moment, and they just stay there for a second. He looks back up. The man in question is a fellow by the name of Jack Ransom. He was an investigative reporter in the 40s, 50s, 60s. He dropped off the face of the earth around the mid-70s. And if what you're saying is true, he looks pretty good for a 96-year-old.
Well, first I need to make sure, are you being literal or figurative when you say he dropped off the face of the earth?
He disappeared from all public record in 1974.
Okay. I think you probably should know that if I remember correctly, Mr. Ransom, we're told that Mr. Ransom hired Ark to kidnap himself. And again, I look at the rest of the group, kind of like, am I remembering?
Ransom hired Ark to kidnap himself.
Right, guys?
I believe so.
Well, that makes my day a lot worse, not better.
Well, and then his form changes into the very familiar woman. It's this. So I was talking with one of the patrons there, and her name is Chiller. Have you heard of her before?
Yes, I know who Chiller is.
Well, she was quite unhappy.
I imagine she would be.
And I was trying to use her maybe as a contact, and then I was on my way to do so, and it's really unfortunate because that's when what I guess is called an emissary and her goons, the doctor that I've dealt with for some time, showed up and wanted to take me back. Sorry.
Do you know where Chiller is going to be now?
Someone called the surgeon?
Well,
I've never heard of a person.
the surgeon is a criminal type of healer, if you will. He's willing to help modifications and things. Some people utilize him when their abilities are a little extreme, like Chiller's.
She was quite upset that, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, she really seemed quite perturbed that we might be getting a job that she had access to with the old man, and it was just kind of unsettling. And I think I was the first person to ever maybe show her compassion.
Well, Chiller has been on the list for a while. The simple, ugly truth of it is that I understand why she does what she does. Unfortunately, when she comes across my desk, that's no longer an issue. But I am concerned because of the reasons.
Have I ever come across the desk?
Everyone comes across my desk eventually. It's just what they decide to do while they're on, what happens while they're there that makes the difference. I'm more concerned with the fact that you said Jack Ransom hired these people to kidnap himself. If Jack Ransom was kidnapped in a very visible way, it might drive a few people who are not currently in the city to emerge. And that is a long story. I'll try to make it very short. This concerns me because if Jack Ransom was able to hire Ark, and you say that Chiller was involved, and that means the Sinister Syndicate was probably involved. Does that sound familiar?
She mentioned that.
That means this is a syndicate.
She mentioned it. Absolutely.
Normally, our resources have been devoted to larger scale things, but anytime a group of criminals decides to operate, it becomes a more difficult situation. I had actually put a lot of our efforts to track John Quester, and we believed we had him at McCready's tonight, but he slipped out in the confusion. With that being said, if you saw Jack Ransom, then you're the first person in almost 40 years to have seen him, and that is not a good thing. Jack Ransom was an associate member of the Distinguished Society. Do you know what that is?
Of course.
Is he a super?
No.
Nope.
No, he was just a normal man. He was a reporter. He was an associate of them. The Distinguished Society was the first modern super group in the United States, for all intents and purposes. It created the idea of it. They disbanded in 1962. The day after was the fall, where a good number of superheroes died in a one-afternoon event. Jack Ransom hasn't been seen since the 70s.
Mark?
Yeah.
Just make sure I'm clear. They disbanded the day after the fall or the day
The
before?
day before.
Okay.
There's always been some question because there aren't a lot of surviving Distinguished Society members left, and none of them are obviously willing to converse. But Ransom disappeared in '74. He hasn't been seen since, and this is a very visible thing for a man in his late 90s. If he's trying to kidnap himself, that's a lot of muscle for that purpose. Ark's damage to the greater New York metropolitan electrical grid alone was 6 digits. Loss of life could have been staggering.
It's lucky we were there.
It was. I also don't
We
believe
took care of that situation.
I don't believe in luck. I'm not a big proponent of it. I do believe in situations that present unique situations. So the question I'm going to ask you is a very simple one. Do you want to see how far this goes? Or are you willing just to turn this over and let someone else do it? I can assure you, whoever was coming after you, miss, they're going to try again. We've been aware of the Morningside situation for a little while, and once we became aware of it, we immediately have been tracking. But as far as I know, you're the first person to ever escape their clutches.
Well, they didn't react so well to fire before, but then this time, they did.
I haven't read the report.
Almost as if they were resistant, actually.
Or resistant to you specifically. I've been told that they draw their abilities from elder powers. I think is the best way I can say. I do find it interesting, however, they were able to find you exactly where you were at.
Yeah, it's a bit strange because it was 3 days travel from where they were to get back to New York.
Yes.
I look at Syndicate and I say, but as you may have noticed, there are ways to get around much quicker.
Yeah, that was strange.
Was there news on site at McCready's?
There were. They haven't let the news. I mean, obviously they're not going to be able to get access to McCready's, but the news immediately were churned up by how many federal authorities and superheroes and powered individuals were coming out of the building.
So it's certainly possible that we would have been broadcast.
Or someone in McCready's knew who spotted you and told them.
Right. Okay.
Either way, they've assumed that you're associated with whatever happened to McCready's.
Right. Well, no, I was trying to figure out. I mean, it's probably not the actual reason, but it would be a reasonable that Syndicate was seen
right
at McCready's, so they could have. That's how they could have found Syndicate. Okay.
I guess what I'm wanting to know about it is that you people have already been through one heck of a night, to be polite about it. And from what you're saying and what you're suggesting, it probably is going to be a much longer road if you follow it. Officially,
I don't think that's our choice. I think the road is
following me.
Oh, I think it's all of you now. I think certainly now that Morningside is aware of you and you have associates, the next time it won't be so easy. I think they came looking for you but did not expect you to already have contacts. And I think the next time it happens, they'll be prepared for those contacts. You fought Prairie Fire before, didn't you? Thought Minnesota?
A few times.
Came to the big city because you wanted to do what exactly?
Well, just it's where all the heroes are. It's
And there are a lot of them.
the place to go.
At any one point,
hero work.
At any one point, I have to bring the resources to bear on a worldwide level of different kinds of threats. I'm not going to suggest what I'm going to say is countermanding that. I'm just suggesting that if there is a link between Jack Ransom and the Distinguished Society and the Sinister Syndicate, and that Ransom was trying to make it a very visible event, it's very possible he's trying to drive the surviving members to the surface as well for whatever reason. It's also interesting to suggest that they've already figured out that you were involved. We can give you protection. Obviously, we could do that for you. That's your choice. There is another option.
I think I'd rather have support.
That's the other option. I can't devote resources immediately to resolve this matter. There's a lot of rules that have to be followed that I have already flagrantly disavow and ignore. But I think at this point, what I could do is provide you with a little bit of additional resources should you want to investigate this matter.
Again, I don't think it's our choice. I think whether we want to investigate it or not, it's coming to us. I think it's already come to us.
Well, then let's give you a little bit of a history lesson. The Distinguished Society, as I said, was founded. They represented the brightest of their generation. Race Riley, excellent pilot. one of the first African-American heroes, Ulysses Darrow, my apologies. An occult expert by the name of Lady Lucy Harker. The semi-immortal pirate from the South Seas, Captain Crossbones. Everyone's sweetheart, Reagan Warhawks. Marvelo the Magician, and Rula the Jungle Girl. They represented, for their time, some of the greatest heroes that we had seen. We don't know why they broke up. The surviving members of the society have been very reticent to have the conversation, and some of them have disappeared completely from public sight. The only one that I'm fully aware of and could communicate with is Ulysses Darrow.
What is his current situation? Poof. He's muted.
I'm muted because I was having a conversation in the other hall. I had to shut the door. Ulysses Darrow is still active. He runs effectively what he does is disaster recovery. I'll try to reach out to him and see if I can communicate with him. And to that need, I'm going to have a method to communicate with you. And he reaches into his desk and pulls out something and slides it across the desk to Beacon. That is the direct communicator. I should probably go without saying that I don't really want to have to explain why you have it. Darrow may be very reluctant to discuss the Distinguished Society.
Wow.
Publicly, he's only given one interview about what happened with the society, and that was in the 1980s. I don't know what Ransom's goal
Before all of us were born.
Yes. The interview was a 60 minutes what happened to sort of interview. It was 20 years after the Distinguished Society broke up and the anniversary of the fall.
Perhaps the events of today will loosen his tongue.
I wouldn't count on it. Darrow has been notoriously withdrawn. Not as withdrawn as some of the others. Darrow's probably more approachable than Harker is, although she'd have to be close to 100 years old now. And Captain Crossbones does not speak to anyone. He just stays in his South Seas and patrols mercilessly for pirates and other things. But I think maybe if you could find out what this was about, Darrow might be able to have that communication with you. I think certainly will interest him. And if I can reach Darrow, I'll have him communicate with you.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm offering is nothing more than just to act as a go-between. If I have to become directly involved in this matter, it's going to be a very direct involvement. I don't want to do that. You obviously were brought into this for whatever reason. This is your task, if you will. And for my part, I'm willing to see where it leads. In the interim, what I can do is I can begin to give you funnel a little bit more information your way. I can even give you the means to respond in certain respects. And I can supply more of that mead because it looks like you're getting low. Looks like a Zorpasorp, motions, and looks like a little robotic hand kind of comes out of the table and just sort of does a good-fashioned bartender right into the cup.
How good were the chicken wings?
They were pretty good.
All right. He's appreciated them much, and he's actually going to like try and get attention. After that, he's going to kind of raise his cups as directorate. Deckard. There we go.
Deckard. Just Director Deckard.
Deckard. Nobody gets any better. One bite and you'll agree that Deckard is the dog for me.
There are probably a lot of people who disagree with you, including my ex-wife. Maybe even my current wife.
With that, he's going to bow down a little and say, Gazorpazorp, newly arrived to this world. I've fought these things a lot in the past. All you need is a good iron rod and plenty of punching. Speaking of which, anybody here make me a good iron, fist? Maybe some iron knuckles?
I think we can arrange that before you leave.
Well, that'd be great. So what, are we going to hang out here for a while?
I was actually going to send you back down to Manhattan before people start asking questions.
Okay.
Just 1 second, Director Decker. A wonderful point. Does your little database there have anything on Goobly Goop here?
It wouldn't, but I'm not going to use the database to get that information. I'm just going to appeal to a few magicians I know. Obviously, as we've fought these in the past, that's not unusual.
No. On him specifically.
As I said, there's no information on him in the database at this time. I'm going to use my alternate means of getting that information.
Must have misunderstood you. My apologies.
It's all right. It's been a long day. I've already had to put down Pueblo, the town that walks like a man, and we've had to stop an entire uprising of Aztec gods this afternoon. So I can understand how it's been a long day.
Yeah, it has been.
Tell me more about Pueblo, the man that walks like a city.
It's Pueblo, the town that walks like a man. He goes over and hits a button, and it looks like the old Kirby-esque monster, big earth-looking thing that has a town built out of its back, like a Pueblo town, and there are people hanging on to it. Yes, Pueblo, the town that walks like a man.
I don't know if we can ask him or if it become. Do we know who the last couple of villains at the Distinguished Society?
The Distinguished Society fought a number of different kinds of criminals. The most notable criminals they fought were usually there was the League of Crime. There were Malice the Maleficent. He was a space conqueror. Dracula. They fought Dracula in the 1930s. They usually fought more traditional. Ironically enough, it was always like pirates or Scarlet Brotherhood smugglers or the Black Dragon Society, whatever you want to call that era of criminal organizations that might exist.
So the Little Orphan Annie Rogues Gallery.
There is. It's a combination because Little Orphan Reagan had a movie made in the 80s about her. Everyone remembers Reagan Warhawk. She was adopted by Marlton Warhawks, a billionaire. Had a group of friends. She was an orphan. Cute as a button.
Was it a hard knock life for her?
It was a hard knock life for her. Race Riley, they tried to make that movie in the 80s, but, Queen did the soundtrack. It's fine.
Oh, sure was glorious.
It's... Go ahead.
Director Deckard, the question is thus. Do we now work for you?
No. No, I think that the best thing to do is let's just say that we're following up a mutually interested investigation. I think if I was to have to clear some of you in for operations, it would be a very difficult day. And I've already had a long day. I think the best way to say is I'm going to help you because I'm curious. I'm going to give you what you need to help. You have a means of communicating with me, and I can provide you information. This is all unofficial.
Well, we have a means of communicating with you. Overall.
He points to the device that he's just given Beacon. Yes, you do.
It is to be used judiciously.
Okay.
No. I just may not be the one you'll speak with. Paul will be your intermediary when I'm not available.
Mm-hmm. Does
he seems pleasant.
Go ahead.
What'd you say, Paul? I'm sorry, I missed what you said. Ken?
I think Corey said he seems pleasant. Paul seems pleasant.
Paul's fairly effective at what he does. I believe completely that he will do as very much as what he's asked.
So as an aside, I don't know what our characters would know, or if we need to ask him. What do we know about the Sinister Syndicate? Is that right?
The Sinister Syndicate is a loose collection of supervillains. Began sometime in the 70s. They tend to run the gamut. It's like there's not a lot known about how they're organized, because they've never really been organized well enough to say we have a headquarters and a Dakota ring and all of that. There are probably about 10 to 13 different villains that have been part of the Syndicate at any one time. And they actually sell their services to whoever can hire them.
Okay, so it's not like an established, these 6 villains are...
No. They tend to have, there are people that work more with them, but like people like Chiller, she's working because she has powers and she needs a job. Ark is definitely one of those guys who's worked with them for a very long time. They have villains that
Well, she's not working with them anymore.
you tell Deckard where the surgeon can be found, he'll guarantee you that they'll bring her in without much of a problem. Maybe even get her help that she needs.
Do you think she could be trusted?
I think
You seem to enjoy my company.
That's up to what you think trust would be. I'm going to be honest with you. She has a number of crimes on her record, but I know people that could help her with that. But she's got to be willing to come in. And for her to come in, we're going to have a conversation with her. And this is not something that I'm going to be able to say lightly. If you give me her location, I can bring her in without much of a problem, either to her or to the people around her. And then we can see what's said. I doubt we're going to get anything out of Ark.
Okay. Right, and and I do understand that. It's just I really think I could use her as a lead.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm more than willing to bring her in, and before I turn her over to Aegis, I can bring her here under my discretion. If you think you can get information from her, I'll be glad to let you have the attempt. But there are rules to this. When I say it's time to quit, that's it. And she goes, she has to come in, and she'll have to answer for the crime she's committed. That's inflexible.
What if she was to help?
That would be taken into consideration, but she'd have to be willing to answer for the crime she's committed. You have to understand, I'm not above the fact of using resources if she's willing to come in and do what's being asked of her. And if she provides complete assistance, I can intervene on a lot of levels. I can talk to certain people. But has to be that way.
You can show her leniency.
I can be an inflexible asshole, but I'm not above when someone has their abilities out of their control. Miss Chiller's powers are out of her control. She's aware of this. Anyone around her is aware of this. It's not going to get better. It's just going to get worse. She's gone well out of her way to try to kill anyone. She doesn't seem to want to do that. But there's going to come a point soon where she's going to inadvertently hurt someone past a point. Not even her choice. We can get her the help she needs. But I need to know where she's at. As it stands, I already have a number of people in New York because we were trying to take John Quester in. I'm understanding, Mr. Scaredevil, you were asking about John Quester. And a fellow by the name of Pinpoint.
Yes, I was.
You know, John Clark is one of the most dangerous human beings I've ever run into. Pinpoint is dangerous with a capital D. You're going to go look for him.
Yeah, that might be true.
You're in luck. If you only had an international super team that had effectively access to a global database of supervillains that they could call up at any point to find out the last known whereabouts of that individual, I bet that would make things a lot easier. Oh, look, I have an international database right here of super criminals. I bet I could get that information by asking for it. Shankra, why don't you give Mr. Scaredevil a printout of the database of what he's looking for? And a little piece of paper generates out of the table. That's Mr. Clark's last known locations. Might help you, it might not.
While you're printing, would you mind printing us a picture of that hologram that we put together a moment ago?
You want a copy of his picture? Absolutely. It prints out a fairly nice photographic quality picture of the gentleman in question.
The old man.
The old man. Back in my day, we used to fight criminals with our fists.
We still do that today, old man.
Now, the old man's like, back in my day, we used to betray people in a big way.
I suspect that's going on nowadays, too.
With my fists. Is there anything else I can provide you people before I the rest of the world?
I say this. Are we like not like a group or something?
You are whatever you are. I'm not going to suggest one thing or another. What I am going to say is you were attacked together. They now know you were together. Obviously, they're going to use that whenever they can. I think there is an old saying that I hold very true to. There is strength in numbers.
Yeah, it seemed to work well today.
That's true. That did.
But I'll warn you.
I think we do work good together.
I'll warn you. I'm very polite right now. I'm trying to be. I don't want to be as hard-edged as I should be in some cases. I've been told by some people that I have been in the past a little bit of too direct in my dealings. And I've also been said that I have violated the rules more than occasion. So I'm trying my absolute best to not deal with that problem. I'm giving you leeway to operate. I'm going to help you where I can, but there are limits. You need to be aware of that before you leave this room. If you violate the law flagrantly, if you begin to basically draw a lot of attention, that's a lot more than I'm able or willing to put up with. I want you to be aware of this now so there are no problems.
I'll look at Syndicate and Scaredevil and I'll say, I'm certain none of us will be breaking the law.
That is what I thought. Because my entire goal is that if this is an issue that's coming out of old history, and if what you have brought together is true, if the old man is indeed responsible for this for whatever reason, then the syndicates involved, I think this is probably far greater than anyone has considered. I'll try to reach out to Ulysses Darrow, and I'll try to have him contact you.
Where is Mr. Darrow again?
The last time we heard Mr. Darrow, he was overseeing disaster relief in Southeast Asia. If Darrow can be reached, I'll have him contact you. I should also tell you this flat out. If you can prove that Jack Ransom set this up, if you can show that, well, that's a much more interesting conversation that I'd like to have. So, at that point, a little box pings out of the table, and there are apparently a pair of kind of cestus-like brass knuckles made of cold iron. I believe that's Mr. Gazorpazorp's request.
Mr. Gazorpazorp expresses some appreciation as he puts them on and looks upon them.
Oh, they fit well.
Yeah, yeah.
And they actually have something carved into each little handle, like little runes.
Looks similar to something that's on perhaps a bullet or two.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I see. I see.
Well, if there are no other questions, the reason I know who you are, Thought, is I think that in a little bit of time, with a little experience, we were going to approach you. Same with you, Beacon.
It's a great honor, sir.
I was kind of hoping that would happen, but
Don't think it's an honor yet. The survivability rate in these sorts of things can be terrible. We don't have a lot of good free time, and a lot of people want to kill you.
Price
But-
of pay, sir.
I cannot be killed.
Yes,
I'm just saying.
some people haven't tried hard enough. Everything can be killed. I once heard God say
Yeah.
at the top of his lungs he could not be killed.
Just-
Actually, that one I will take back. He probably couldn't be killed. He was kind of an asshole.
That's true.
But most everything can be killed. You apply enough liberal use of whatever.
There are fates worse
Mhm.
than death, too, you know.
I'm sorry?
I'm talking to Scared Devil. I'm saying there are fates worse than death.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There are terrible things that could happen. The point of it is that what we'll do in the interim, I'm going to put you back where I picked you up from. Once I get a hold of Darrow, in the interim, I would suggest that you coordinate with each other on how you want to approach this investigation. Furthermore, just as a consideration, whoever's out there looking at this time, they were counting on the fact that the old man would be publicly taken off that train. You've thrown their plans off. That means it's going to get dangerous pretty quick.
Do you think we should at least have an experienced hero here or something like?
I think that the fact is, the advantage you have is that all of you came together at a unique point. I don't take that lightly. As far as I'm concerned, that's a bolt out of the blue sort of thing you don't see very often. If you feel you need an experienced
It
hero,
was a
I have found that experience is often overrated when it comes to just desire of making sure it gets done. Consider it on-the-job experience.
Certainly all could use. Except perhaps Mr. Gazorp here, who's...
In the interim, I have a few contacts within certain areas that can tell me more about the Morningside group. Perhaps we can get to the idea as to why they're pursuing you besides your being the only escapee, and maybe even find a way to anticipate when they're going to pop up again. If I were you, miss,
that would be good to know.
if I were you, I wouldn't separate too far from your associates. Next time, they may not be around the corner. They seem to be keyed in and trying to recover you for some reason. And they have familiarity with you,
Well,
Mr.
as I
Bigelow.
said, I'm the one that got away.
I like fishing. Do you like fishing? Sometimes, when I have the time, which isn't often, I take a boat out. And one time I caught a swordfish. I let it dance on the reel for a good long while before I pulled it in. It took all damn evening. The point I'm trying to make is this. Sometimes you let things go so they tire themselves out. But this is different. They were actively trying to bring you in today. That bothers me.
Yeah,
He
that's
says that they have something else going on. At any rate, fellows and ladies, we'll keep our eyes open on our end. You keep your eyes open on your end, and hopefully we'll find an answer that everyone's going to be happy with. Agreed?
Agreed.
Yes.
agreed.
Well, in
I
that
agree.
case, I would suggest you all become very good friends in a short period of time. I would suggest also that you prepare for a longer term experience with each other, as it seems you've all become very good friends overnight. In the interim, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find out what information, and I'll pass it along. Once Darrow communicates with me, I'll communicate with you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I think it's best I don't know. But I will give you one bit of advice. Just one. And I have found this to be most useful. If you feel that this man is the cause of what you're doing, follow what this man has done. Travel back, get a better feel for it, and that should give you a lot more information. Obviously, he wanted this to happen a certain way. If you can find out how and why he did that, I feel you'll be better off. Well,
then that means he's like one step ahead from him.
this is
He's
obviously
trying to be
not
one
a
step
recent
ahead.
idea. It takes money and it takes connections to hire someone like Ark. Neither of those things are cheap or easy to come by. I don't think he just went out and found him in the phone book. If I can bring Chiller into a location, I'll contact you. Fair enough?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fine.
How much do you know of Chiller's physical issues?
I know that she's currently a Class 5 cold generator on her way to Class 6, whether she intends to or not.
No, I'm talking about the problem she's having.
Oh, I know a little bit from what the doctors told me, what the file says. Chiller's inability to process her body is evolving past her ability to control her powers.
Right.
It is treatable.
So your men think they actually know how to help her.
Once they can get a better look at her, they can probably give you an exact means of treating her.
Okay. So they. All right. Thank you.
But wouldn't it be better if she learned how to control the power?
I don't think Chiller can control this power. I think Chiller's powers have gone beyond her natural ability to control. If I didn't know better,
Okay.
I would say that what's happened here is by the time Chiller gains control of her abilities, it may very well be too late for someone who's caught in the crossfire. Do you understand what I mean? Right now, Chiller's wanted for crimes, but she's not wanted for murder, and she's not wanted for real assault. And that's what would probably keep her out of prison, or keep her from the bottom of Maxim, the super prison in Arizona. If she crosses that line, then there's no help that I can give her. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not past that line yet.
Yes.
We can still help her, but she's got to show that she's willing to come in.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sounds
if you're
like a
willing,
plan, boss.
well, I think if we can get her, I'll bring you in and you can have a conversation with her. You can all have a conversation with her. Maybe you can convince her that what she needs to do is to willingly turn herself over rather than us having to drag her in. Hi, Wookie. Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
Well then, I hope you don't mean.
That's about it.
I hope y'all don't think this is rude, but I do have a globe to kind of ensure that we're not pulling apart at. Paul will communicate.
Do we
with-
have to go back right where the all that action was happening?
No. Shankar will drop you off at any location in the greater Manhattan area. Why don't we pick a nice
Let's
quiet
say
spot in Central Park?
I was gonna say like my apartment or something.
We could probably do that. You want to be in the basement? You want to be outside?
Seems like the basement would draw
Do you
less.
guys think that? Yeah, I gotta stay there too.
Very good. I'll see that Paul calibrates everything. It's only been a low problem of accidents. Leans back in his chair. I'll be in touch. You be in touch as well. Good luck. You're going to need it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Director.
Paul, And the door opens up, and the young man's out there. Hello, are we done? They're done. Great.
Amazing.
If you follow me, I'll get you down to the... Actually, Shankar doesn't really need to, but I just thought the walk's always good. You can get to see the best part of the walk since we just moved the teleport thing to the... Why don't you just follow me and we'll take the walk? It's great. We'll take the tram. The tram's really beautiful this time of night.
Sure.
The doors open up and it's like a little subway tram, a little seat, and you sit down and it zooms out and you're enters an area and you're out there and you look out and there's space and there's the planet Earth. There's satellites. There's the moon.
Woo.
There's some robots. Space robots. Why not?
They look menacing.
Not
Are they on the wing of the space station? Are they tearing the wing apart?
No, they're actually just floating there. Just floating there. See, the best view. The best view. We're not even on the debris side.
It's inspiring, isn't it?
It can be. It can be. It's breathtaking. It reminds you what you're up here doing, you know? Well, Mr. Deckard said, contact me if you have any problems. I know he gave you the fancy communicator, and he writes down something and hands several times and hands out a piece of paper. That's my cell phone. I have really good signal. So if you require something and you don't want to go through those channels.
Wait. Is it a cell phone or is it a satellite phone?
It's actually a fifth dimensional communication device, which is routed through Shankra's main system.
We're on a satellite.
But I like it being a cell phone.
Satellite, because we're on a satellite.
Yeah, well, we're actually not on a satellite. We're on Shankra. I don't think Shankra would like to be called a satellite.
Beacon's brain translates into satellite. I'm sure that's alien for satellite.
Sure, but, you know, just saying, Shankra tends to like being called Shankra.
Well, I like to be called Beacon, but I'm still a person.
Absolutely, and so is Shankra.
Cool. Do we see anybody else up here? Other than the
Lots of people. There are even costumed people. You saw Bumblebee. You saw at least one other person who had electrical powers, and some tall fellow who teleports around and punches people in the middle of a fight. Ken.
They deserve punching.
Huh?
They deserve punching.
They did. And a large snake thing. That's the best way to describe it. It's terribly, and a large robot and some other people. I'll give you the full rundown some other time, but they're not important for this person. There are other costumed figures that you see.
All right, I'm just trying to get a feel for what's going on up here. So there are more folks around.
Oh, absolutely. It's just they keep coming and going. They keep coming and going.
Just too fast.
Paul.
Yes.
So I have this, well, let's just say I've come across this communication device. We'll leave it at that. I'm led to believe that you're the one likely to be answering it.
Mr. Deckard tends to be busy. I'm usually the one who can handle a lot of this.
Sure. That's perfectly fine. I just wanted you to know that I do have it, and, you know, just in case I do need to call, I'll be as judicious as possible. But
no, it's fine. If you don't get me, you might get Rose Red, and she can handle all the information. She's linked directly to Shankra, so she'll be processing the data anyway.
Okay. It's fine. Just want to make sure you knew that.
As we're like...
There's Rose. The thing comes to a stop, and there's a girl standing there, maybe about 18. She has neon red hair. She's wearing neon red, and her eyes glow with a kind of a neon red iris.
That's a cool trick.
Oh, which one? The hair, it really took a lot of dyeing.
Good evening, Miss Rose.
No, I was talking about your eyes.
Oh, I'm just in the data. I'm in the data stream at the moment. It's fine. Paul, no offense to you, but that situation in Ecuador is going to explode in about 2 minutes, and they're going to need you. I can take it from here. That's great. It was nice meeting you all. Call me when you get a chance. I just got a Ecuador, you know.
Do you need us?
No, we got this. They've already got people on site. They've got people on site. Oh, they've got people on site.
Okay.
So I'm going to send you off. I'm Rose. If you need anything, call. I don't do credit ratings anymore. They get pissed off when apparently you mess with the financial systems.
And how do we refer to you? Miss Rose?
Just Rose. Rose is fine. You can call me Rose.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Rose.
You know, it's just as good as anything else. Most of the time. I like your costume. Can you see out of that mask?
I can see fine.
It's just weird colored. You know, you can't see all the time. I know a guy once who didn't have eye sockets on his mask, and he couldn't see through it. So they said he was like.
But I have like the material that's under. I can see through it anyway. So
that's cool. Do you know Kung Fu? Well, anyway, I'm sorry. I get distracted. Your thought. I know who you are. I saw you on television. You're like really fast.
That's what they tell me. Yeah.
That's cool.
Thank you. I know it's already been said, but nice hair.
Oh yeah, like I said, it's I'd like to say it's a dye job, but it's difficult to say. But what do you expect? You know, mind the size of a computer, sort of thing.
As this is happening, he's looking at the whereabouts Pinpoint has been.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Pinpoint's all over the place, but he's been surprisingly within about 100-mile radius of where you're at now. And it looks like he was in an area when you got shot. In fact, it says he was probably in that immediate area when you got shot. So if you need anything, call Paul, or it'll come through me, and then I'll call Paul and, you know, use the communicator. The only person who doesn't is Michael's communicator. It goes directly to him. But everything else goes to me. What goes to Shankar, it goes to me too. Shankar doesn't really care about that stuff. I maintain the NeuroNet, so it's fine. Just call me. If I'm busy, I'm usually in a death match, but I'm not really that busy. I mean, I can play Overwatch anytime I'm told. Except when I'm really wanting to do something and I'm told I can't. But I'm not going to let that out on you. You guys have a good night. You wanted to be in the basement of your house, right?
Yes.
If you just stand on the pad, that'll look really cool and Star Trek-y, but I can just send you down there right now, if you like.
Whichever's safest.
Well, there's only a small percentage that it could go horribly wrong. You ever seen the movie The Fly?
I saw the original.
Oh, yeah, they made a remake. Cool. All right, then. So, good luck. If you need anything, call, and we'll be here for you. Okay? And then you're in the basement, and about 2 seconds after all of you appear in the basement, Peter? Peter, are you home?
You'll be like, oh, God.
Do you want some lemonade and wheat cakes?
I don't want the wheat cakes. Give me the lemonade.
Would your friends like the wheat cakes?
I would like a wheat cake.
Yes, I too would like a wheat cake. It sounds good.
Sounds
I'll take two.
She brings out an entire plate of warmly cooked flapjacks. Wheat flapjacks and a whole pitcher of ice-cold lemonade.
as
I really enjoy Peter's
When-
friends coming to
yeah.
visit.
Thank you for having us.
you can see him off the mask now.
Yeah.
He has the mask off, so
Are you going to form a little club, Peter?
I don't think so. I think we're actually going to be a group.
Oh,
Is that right?
that's excellent. Is this related to photography?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's too bad. You're really quite a good photographic person, Peter. I keep saying you should submit those pictures downtown. Maybe you could get those pictures of that awful Scaredevil. He's awful terrible. You could take those pictures of that terrible Scaredevil downtown and sell them.
Zorp is scratching his head, being very confused.
Well, I'll go back upstairs. And with
Thank
that,
you, Damn.
huh?
You can go now.
Enjoy your wheat cakes.
These look delicious.
Yeah.
With that,
And I tell
you got your metal knuckles. You got your communication. As soon as they get to a point with Chiller, they're going to contact you. If they get a hold of Mr. Darrow, they'll contact you. But you're free to plan out your next actions, and I think that's where I'm going to leave everybody tonight, as it is 10 o'clock.
But we did not tell them where Chiller is.
Oh my god.
No. You did not tell them where Chiller is. You gave them a hint.
But oh my god, I think this is the best session I ever had played.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So the apple does not fall far from the tree, I see.
I was the support man today.
Well, on that case, all I think that I will bid you adieu. I should have things for you shortly. You have the communicator, and you're moving forward on the communication.
If you're talking about character sheets, I was serious. I don't want one.
You don't want a character sheet?
I don't want to know what I can do.
Excellent. Well, in that case, I didn't want to tell you this, but you have a unique power you can only use once, like the old Golden Age Superman. You see, you didn't realize this, but you have the power to go back in time once, but you have to give someone the amnesia kiss after you do it.
So I have to fly really fast and
You
diverse.
do, and then you have to give someone the amnesia kiss.
All right.
Doesn't matter who.
All right, Daredevil. Hope you're ready. Pucker up, buddy.
What? No.